I'll treat you like the mother I never got to say goodbye to. The words shattered the silence of Giuseppe's restaurant. Emma didn't care that her voice cracked, didn't care about the tears streaming down her face. The old woman in the wheelchair, Mrs. Rosa Santoro, gripped her hand like a lifeline, her diamonds catching the dim light. You mean that child? Across the room, a phone hit the floor. Emma looked up to see a man in a black suit frozen in the doorway, his face drained of color. Marcus Santoro, the most feared man in Little Italy, stared at the waitress who'd just made a vow to his dying mother, a vow that would change everything. Smash that subscribe button and comment your city below. Let's see how far Emma's story reaches. Now let's go back to where it all began. 3 hours earlier, Emma McCall had been contemplating which bills to pay and which to let slide into oblivion. Electricity or water, food or phone. The math never worked, no matter how many times she rearranged the numbers in her head. Emma, table 7's waiting. Marco's voice cut through her thoughts like a cleaver. She grabbed the water pitcher and moved. Moving was safer than thinking. Thinking led to remembering, and remembering led to the night 3 years ago when a police officer knocked on her door at 2 a.m. with news that rearranged her universe into before and after. The rain hammered Giuseppe's windows. February in New York, always cold, always wet, always grinding you down until you forgot what warmth felt like. Emma had forgotten a lot of things. Warmth, hope, the sound of her mother's laugh. You look like hell, Maria whispered, passing her in the narrow corridor between tables. Maria was 60, had worked at Giuseppe's for 30 years, and had a sixth sense for suffering. I feel like hell. It's your brother again, isn't it? Emma didn't answer, didn't need to. The whole neighborhood knew about Ryan Cole and his spectacular talent for self-destruction. Gambling. That was his poison. Their father had been a drinker, their mother a worrier, and Ryan had somehow inherited the worst of both and turned it into a neon-bright disaster. How much this time? Maria pressed. More than I have. Emma. I don't want to talk about it. Emma forced a smile that felt like broken glass. I'm fine. You're 23 years old and you look 40. That's not fine. Emma didn't argue. What was the point? She grabbed her order pad and approached table 12 painted on her customer service face and took their order without really hearing it. Carbonara, veal, wine. The same orders, different faces, day after day after day. Then she saw table 9. The woman sat in a wheelchair near the back corner and Emma's feet stopped moving. Just stopped like her body recognized something her brain hadn't caught up to yet. The woman was old 70, maybe older, dressed in black that screamed money. Real money, not the fake designer knockoffs you saw in Chinatown. Diamonds at her throat, at her wrists, and her ears. But it wasn't the wealth that made Emma stare. It was her face. Lined and weathered, but alive, fiercely, intensely alive. Her eyes were dark and sharp and seemed to catalog everything: Emma's worn shoes, her threadbare uniform, the exhaustion she carried like a second skeleton. Signorina, the woman's voice carried across the half-empty restaurant, commanding, used to being obeyed. Come here. Emma approached slowly, suddenly aware of every hole in her stockings, every stain she couldn't quite wash out of her uniform. Yes, ma'am. What can I get you? The woman studied her with an intensity that made Emma want to squirm. What is your name? Emma. Emma Cole. Emma. The woman tasted the name. Do you know how to make ubuko? The world tilted. Emma grabbed the edge of the table to steady herself. I what? Ubuko. It's a traditional dish, very old, very specific. Do you know it? Emma's grandmother had taught her mother. Her mother had taught Emma one summer when she was 12, both of them laughing in the kitchen, while her father and Ryan watched baseball in the living room. That was before the drinking got bad, before the fighting, before the crash that ended everything. I know it, Emma whispered. Can you make it? Yes, ma'am, the woman smiled. Then I would like you to make it for me. Not the kitchen, you, with your own hands. Marco materialized like a shark scenting blood. Mrs. Santoro, I apologize, but our waitress isn't authorized to. I didn't ask for authorization. The old woman, Mrs. Santoro, didn't even look at him. I asked this young woman to cook for me. Are you refusing service? No, of course not, but then it's settled. Emma will make my ubuko. Mrs. Santoro's eyes locked on Emma's. Won't you, dear? Emma should have said no, Should have apologized and brought the order to the kitchen and let Chef Antonio handle it. Should have stayed invisible, stayed safe, stayed in her lane. I'll make it, she heard herself say. 20 minutes. Marco's face went purple. Emma, you can't just, I'll make it, Emma repeated. Something in her voice made Marco step back. In the kitchen, all hell broke loose. Chef Antonio went ballistic, arms waving, voice hitting decibels that probably violated health codes. You think you can just waltz in here and use my kitchen? Who do you think you are? Someone who knows how to make ubuco, Emma said quietly. Do you? Antonio's mouth opened, closed, opened again. That's not the point. Then what is the point? Emma tied on an apron. A customer asked for a specific dish. I can make it, so I'm making it. You want to explain to Mrs. Santoro why you refused her request? The name landed like a bomb. Everyone in Little Italy knew the Santoros, knew what that name meant, what it could do. Antonio's face shifted from purple to gray. Fine, you have 20 minutes. Don't burn down my kitchen. Emma's hands shook as she gathered ingredients. Beef, wine, vegetables, herbs her grandmother used to grow in window boxes. The movements came back like muscle memory, like her mother's hands guiding hers across time. Chop, saute, simmer. The kitchen filled with smells that punched through Emma's carefully constructed walls and dragged her back to when she was 12 and whole and loved. She blinked back tears. Not here. Not now. 23 minutes later, she'd needed the extra time to get the seasoning right. Emma carried the steaming bowl through the restaurant. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. The bowl felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Mrs. Santoro looked up as Emma approached, and something in her face softened. Sit, child. Ma'am, I can't. I'm working. Sit. Not a request, a command. Emma sat, her legs gave out with relief. Mrs. Santoro took a careful spoonful, closed her eyes. And the transformation was instant. Years fell away from her face, grief and joy mixing in an expression so raw that Emma had to look away. My mother made this, Mrs. Santoro whispered. Tears tracked down her weathered cheeks. Exactly. Precisely. How did you know? My grandmother taught my mother. My mother taught me. Emma's voice cracked. Before the accident. Accident. Car crash. 3 years ago. Drunk driver. Emma couldn't stop now. The words came pouring out like blood from a wound. My dad died instantly. My mom, she lasted 2 days. I was there, holding her hand. She tried to tell me something, but she couldn't. Her lungs were, she broke off, couldn't finish. Mrs. Santoro reached across the table and gripped Emma's hand with surprising strength. Her fingers were cold thin, but the squeeze was fierce. You were there when she died. I was there. Then you know. The old woman's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. You know what it is to be helpless. To watch someone you love slip away and be unable to stop it. Emma nodded, couldn't speak past the boulder in her throat. I lost my mother 40 years ago. Mrs. Santoro continued. My husband 20 years after that. My daughter. Her voice shattered. My daughter 5 years ago. Cancer. It ate her alive. Made her small and weak and nothing like the fierce woman she'd been. At the end, she didn't even know who I was. I'm so sorry. Don't be sorry. Be here, with me, right now. Mrs. Santoro's grip tightened. You remind me of someone I lost. Emma's breath hitched. Your daughter, my Sophia, my fierce, brilliant girl who would have been around your age now, who would have liked you very much, I think. The old woman's eyes bored into Emma's. Will you do something for me? Anything. Treat me like you would your own mother. Not because I'm paying you, not because you're working, but because, her voice wavered, because I need someone to care. Just for a little while. Before, she didn't finish, didn't need to. Emma's voice cracked when she answered. I'll treat you like the mother I never got to say goodbye to. The promise hung in the air between them, heavy and sacred. Mrs. Santoro's face transformed grief and gratitude, and something like hope all mixed together. A phone clattered to the floor. Emma turned to see a man in the doorway, frozen mid-step. 40 maybe. Dark hair going silver at the temples, eyes like chips of obsidian. Everything about him screamed danger, the expensive suit, the predatory stillness. the way the air seemed to thicken around him. Mrs. Santoro smiled. Ah, Marcus. Emma's stomach dropped through the floor. Marcus Santoro, the name that made grown men cross themselves. The man who supposedly ran half of New York's underworld from an estate in Westchester. He crossed the restaurant in 4 long strides, never taking his eyes off Emma's face. Mama, what's going on? Sit, darling. This is Emma. She made me obuco. The kitchen maid, she made it herself with her own hands. Mrs. Santoro gestured at the bowl. Try it. Marcus sat slowly like a predator, deciding whether to attack or wait. He took a spoonful, tasted it. His eyes widened fractionally. Wow, this is exactly like Nona's, his mother finished. Exactly. After 40 years, this child recreated my mother's recipe perfectly. How Marcus's voice was dangerously soft. Her grandmother. Her mother. The recipe passed down. Mrs. Santoro's hand still gripped Emma's. We were talking. About mothers. About loss. About what? The question was sharp. About the fact that Emma here just promised to treat me like her own mother. Mrs. Santoro's smile was radiant. Isn't that wonderful? The silence that followed was suffocating. Marcus stared at Emma like she'd just threatened his life. Emma wanted to melt into the floorboards. Mama. Don't mama me. I'm dying, Marcus. We both know it. 6 months if I'm lucky. Mrs. Santoro's voice was matter-of-fact, but her hand trembled in Emma's. I don't want to spend those months alone in that mausoleum of a house with nurses and doctors and people who pity me. I want, her voice cracked, I want to feel like someone's daughter again, just for a little while. Emma couldn't breathe. Dying, 6 months. The promise she'd made suddenly felt enormous. Marcus's jaw worked. And you think a waitress you just met can... I think Emma understands loss in a way most people don't. Mrs. Santoro turned to Emma. Am I wrong, child? No, ma'am. Then it's settled. Mrs. Santoro released Emma's hand. You'll call me tomorrow. We'll have lunch. Get to know each other properly. Yes, Emma should say no, should run far and fast from this woman and her terrifying son and the world they represented, should protect herself. Yes, she whispered instead. I'll call. Good, Mrs. Santoro smiled. Now go, finish your shift. Marcus will take care of the bill. Emma stood on shaking legs, gave a half bow that felt ridiculous and fled. She could feel Marcus Santoro's eyes drilling into her back all the way to the kitchen. What the hell was that? Maria grabbed her arm the second she was through the door. Do you know who that is? Do you have any idea what you just... I know. Emma leaned against the wall trying to breathe. I know exactly who they are. Then why? Because she asked, and I couldn't say no. Emma explained. Emma closed her eyes. Her daughter died. She's dying. She's alone. And I know what that feels like. Maria's expression softened. Emma, I made a promise. I'm keeping it. Emma pushed off the wall. Now I need to finish my shift before Antonio fires me. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. Emma served tables, refilled waters, smiled at customers, all while her mind replayed that conversation. I'll treat you like the mother I never got to say goodbye to. What had she done? What had she promised? At closing, Marco handed her an envelope. From Mrs. Santoro, she said not to argue. Inside was $500. Emma stared at the bills until they blurred. $500, more than she made in 2 weeks. Enough to buy groceries, maybe pay the electric bill, maybe Emma Cole. She spun. Marcus Santoro stood 3 feet away. How had someone that big moved that silently? Mr. Santoro, is your mother? She's fine. She's in the car, probably planning your entire future together. His voice was dry. She does that. I didn't mean to upset you. You made my mother cry, Marcus interrupted. Happy tears. Real tears. I haven't seen her cry like that since Sophia's funeral 5 years ago. Emma swallowed hard. I'm sorry. Don't be. He pulled out a business card. This is her private number. Call her tomorrow. Have lunch. Let her talk your ear off about Sophia and my father and whatever else she wants to talk about. Can you do that? Yes. Good. Because if you break her heart, if you disappoint her, if you hurt her in any way, he stepped closer. I will end you. Understand? I understand. I don't think you do. Marcus's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. My mother is dying. Heart failure. The doctors can't fix it. She has maybe 6 months, probably less. She spent the last 5 years grieving my sister and preparing to die alone. And then you walk into her life and promise to treat her like your mother, and for the first time in 5 years, I saw hope on her face. Emma's eyes burned. I meant it. The promise. You better have, because she's going to call you every day. She's going to want to see you, spend time with you, treat you like, his voice caught, like the daughter she lost. Can you handle that? I can handle it. Why? The question was sharp. Why would you tie yourself to a dying woman you don't know? Because I know what it's like to be alone, Emma said quietly. And if I can make her last months less lonely, then that's what I'm going to do. Marcus stared at her for a long moment, then nodded once sharply. Go home, Emma Cole. Get some rest. Tomorrow starts your new life. He turned and walked away back to the black sedan idling at the curb. Emma watched it drive off, then looked down at the business card in her hand. Rosa Santoro. A phone number. A promise. Tomorrow. She'd deal with tomorrow when it came. Right now, she needed to get home and face whatever new disaster Ryan had created. The walk took 20 minutes through streets that got progressively worse. Graffiti gave way to boarded windows, gave way to buildings that should have been condemned years ago. Emma's apartment was on the 3rd floor of one of those buildings, and she could hear the shouting before she reached the 2nd floor landing. I told you I'll get the money. Just give me more time. Ryan, Emma's blood ran cold. She took the stairs 2 at a time and threw open the apartment door. 2 men had her brother pinned against the wall. The apartment was destroyed. Furniture, overturned cushions slashed their mother's china. The only thing they had left of her shattered across the kitchen floor. Emma, Ryan's face was a mess of bruises and blood. I'm sorry, I didn't know they'd... Well. The bigger of the 2 men turned to face her, late 30s leather jacket, smile like a shark. The sister, Ryan's been telling us all about you. Let him go. Emma's voice was steady despite the terror flooding her system. Whatever he owes, we'll pay it. $20,000. The man released Ryan, who crumpled. Plus interest. Let's call it 25. 25,000. Emma's vision grayed. I don't have that kind of money. Then you'll get it, won't you? The man stepped closer. Because if you don't, Ryan here's going to have an unfortunate accident. And then we'll come back for you. Make sure you understand how serious we are. I understand. Do you? He grabbed her chin, forced her to meet his eyes. 2 weeks, Emma Cole. Get us the money or we paint these walls with your brother's blood. Then yours. He released her and jerked his head at his partner. They left, taking their violence with them, but leaving the threat hanging in the air like smoke. Emma waited until their footsteps faded before turning to Ryan. 25,000. Her voice was deceptively calm. What did you do? I had a tip, a sure thing, the ponies at Belmont. Ryan wiped blood from his mouth. It was supposed to pay off everything, all the debt. I was going to fix everything. By gambling more money we don't have. I was trying to help. You were trying to help yourself. Emma's control shattered. 3 years of exhaustion and grief and rage came pouring out. You're always trying to help, Ryan. And it always ends with me cleaning up your mess. When does it end? When do you stop destroying everything you touch? Emma, please, Mom and Dad died because Dad was drunk. Because he couldn't stop drinking long enough to care about anyone but himself. And you... Her voice cracked. You're just like him, destroying yourself and dragging me down with you. I'm nothing like him, Ryan whispered. You're exactly like him. Emma grabbed the envelope from her pocket and threw it at him. Bills scattered across the destroyed apartment. There's $500. It was supposed to be for the electric bill, for food, for survival. Use it to start paying back your debt. Maybe they won't kill you right away. Ryan stared at the money. Where did you get this? It doesn't matter. Emma, I'm done. She said it quietly, but the words landed like bullets. I'm done saving you. I'm done sacrificing everything for someone who doesn't care enough to save himself. 2 weeks, Ryan. You've got 2 weeks to figure out how to survive. Because I can't do this anymore. She walked to her bedroom, or what was left of it. They'd torn it apart looking for money that didn't exist. Her mattress was slashed. Her clothes scattered the picture of their parents, the last one they'd taken before the crash lay face down in a pile of broken glass. Emma picked it up carefully. The frame was shattered, but the photo was intact. Her mother's smile, her father's arm around her shoulders. Ryan making bunny ears behind them. Before, when they'd still been a family. She sank onto the destroyed mattress and let the tears come. For her parents, for Ryan, for the girl she used to be before loss taught her that love was just another word for pain. Through the door, she could hear Ryan crying. Part of her wanted to go to him, the part that had spent 3 years protecting him, mothering him, trying to save him from himself. But she couldn't anymore. She just couldn't. Emma pulled out Rosa Santoro's business card. Tomorrow she'd call. Tomorrow she'd start keeping her promise to a dying woman. Tomorrow she'd step into a world she didn't understand with a mafia boss who'd threatened to end her if she failed. But tonight she'd grieve. For everything she'd lost and everything she was about to lose, and the future that seemed to get darker with every passing day. Tomorrow would come soon enough. It always did. Emma didn't sleep. She lay on her slashed mattress staring at the water-stained ceiling, while Ryan's sobs echoed through the apartment walls. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the loan shark's face, heard his voice. 2 weeks, $25,000. Impossible. At 5 a.m., she gave up pretending. The photograph of her parents sat propped against the broken lamp on her nightstand. Her mother's smile seemed to mock her. What would she think of Emma now? Broke, defeated, about to make a promise to a dying stranger, while her own brother drowned in debt. Emma, Ryan's voice came through the door, rough with crying. Are you awake? She didn't answer. I know you hate me. I hate me too. A pause. I'm gonna fix this. I swear. I'll get the money. How? Emma's voice was flat. I don't know yet, but then stop talking. She stood through on yesterday's uniform. It smelled like grease and desperation. I have things to do. Where are you going? Out. She left before he could ask more questions. The morning air was bitter cold, the kind that knifed through cheap coats and settled in your bones. Emma walked 6 blocks to a coffee shop where the Wi-Fi was free and the owner didn't kick you out for nursing 1 cup for 3 hours. Rosa Santoro's business card felt like it was burning a hole in her pocket. Emma pulled out her phone, cracked screen, dying battery, another thing she couldn't afford to replace, and stared at the number. What was she supposed to say? Hi, remember me, the waitress who cried all over your expensive table. Ready for that lunch? Her finger hovered over the call button. Just do it. You promised. She dialed. The phone rang once, twice. On the 3rd ring, a male voice answered. Santoro residence. Not Rosa. Emma's courage wavered. I'm looking for Mrs. Santoro. Rosa Santoro. She told me to call. Your name, Emma Cole. Silence, then 1 moment. The hold music was classical, probably cost more than Emma's entire apartment. She waited, her heart trying to break through her rib cage. Emma! Rosa's voice came on bright with genuine pleasure. I was hoping you'd call early. I've been up since 4 thinking about you. Mrs. Santoro. Rosa, please. Mrs. Santoro makes me feel ancient. Rosa. The name felt strange in Emma's mouth. Too familiar. Too intimate. You said lunch. Is today? Today is perfect. Marcus will pick you up. Where are you? I can take the subway. You don't need to. Nonsense. Marcus is already in the city. He'll collect you. Where are you, dear? Emma gave her the coffee shop address, feeling like she was signing something in blood. What time? 20 minutes. Wear something comfortable. We'll just be at the house. The line went dead before Emma could protest. 20 minutes. She looked down at her stained uniform, her worn shoes. This was as good as it got. She ordered another coffee she couldn't afford and waited. 18 minutes later, the black sedan pulled up outside. Emma watched through the window as Marcus Santoro unfolded himself from the driver's seat. He wore dark jeans and a leather jacket that probably cost more than Emma made in 6 months. He scanned the street with the kind of awareness that made Emma think of soldiers or cops or predators. Then his eyes found her through the glass. Emma's stomach dropped. She forced herself to stand, to walk out into the cold morning, to face the man who'd threatened to end her if she hurt his mother. Miss Cole? His voice was neutral, professional. My mother is eager to see you. Mr. Santoro. Emma's voice came out steadier than she felt. Thank you for picking me up. Marcus, if you're going to spend time with my mother, we might as well drop the formalities. He opened the passenger door. Get in. Emma slid into leather seats that probably cost more than her rent. The car smelled like expensive cologne and danger. Marcus got in beside her, and suddenly the sedan felt very small. They drove in silence for 5 minutes before Marcus spoke. My mother didn't sleep last night. She was too excited, planning what to cook for you, what to talk about, what to show you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Don't apologize. I haven't seen her this animated in years. He glanced at her. But I need to know something. Are you using her? Emma's head snapped toward him. What? Simple question. Are you playing some angle, looking for money, connection, a way out of whatever situation you're in? No. The word came out sharp. I made a promise. I keep my promises. Everyone says that until keeping the promise becomes inconvenient. I buried my mother 3 years ago, Emma said quietly. I held her hand while she died, and I couldn't do anything to stop it. If spending time with your mother makes her last months less awful, then that's what I'm going to do. No angle, no scheme, just, her voice cracked. Just trying to do one good thing in a world that's done nothing but take from me. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then, I had you investigated. Emma's blood turned to ice. What? Last night, after you left, I called in favors, had people look into your background. His voice was matter of fact. Parents died in a crash 3 years ago. Drunk driver ran a light. Wasn't your father's fault for once. Your mother worked as a teacher. Your father as a mechanic when he wasn't drinking. You've been working at Giuseppe's for 2 years. Before that, you were in community college until you couldn't afford tuition anymore. Your brother Ryan has a gambling problem that's gotten significantly worse in the last 6 months. Emma couldn't breathe. You had no right. I have every right. You made a promise to my dying mother. I needed to know who you are. He turned onto a highway heading north. I also know you owe $25,000 to Vincent Caruso's people. The world stopped. How do you? Caruso runs most of the gambling and loan operations in your neighborhood. The men who came to your apartment last night, they work for him, which means your brother didn't just rack up debt with some random loan shark. He got into bed with my family's biggest enemy. Emma's vision grayed. I didn't know. Ryan didn't tell me. Of course he didn't. And now you've got 2 weeks to come up with money you don't have, or Caruso's people will kill your brother, and probably you too. Marcus's voice was clinical, detached. That about sum it up. Yes, the word was barely a whisper. And you still showed up to have lunch with my mother, knowing you're drowning, knowing you should probably be figuring out how to save your own life. I made a promise, Emma repeated. The debt doesn't change that. Marcus pulled off the highway onto a tree-lined road. Most people would have used my mother, asked her for money, played the sympathy card. I'm not most people. No, you're not. He pulled through gates that opened automatically, drove up a driveway that seemed to go on forever, which is why I'm going to help you. Emma's head whipped toward him. What? On one condition. You don't tell my mother about any of this. The debt, the threats, Vincent Caruso, none of it. She doesn't need that stress. Her heart can't take it. I can't ask you to. You're not asking, I'm offering. The mansion came into view, 3 stories of stone and glass and old money. My mother likes you. That's rare. That's precious. I'm not letting Caruso take that away from her. From either of you. He stopped the car, turned to face her fully. But understand this, Emma Cole. The moment you accept my help, you're tied to this family. To me, there's no walking away clean. Are you prepared for that? Emma thought about Ryan crying through the apartment walls, the loan shark's threats, the slashed furniture and broken china, and the grinding knowledge that she was out of options. Yes, she said, I'm prepared. Marcus's smile was sharp. Good, now get out. My mother's watching from the window, and if we sit here much longer, she'll think I'm scaring you off. Emma climbed out on shaking legs. The mansion loomed over her like something from a movie. This wasn't her world. She didn't belong here, but she'd promised. The front door opened before they reached it. Rosa Santoro sat in her wheelchair in the entrance, her face lit up like Christmas morning. Emma, oh, you came. I was worried Marcus would say something awful and frighten you away. I said nothing awful, Marcus protested mildly. Just made polite conversation. Your version of polite conversation could strip paint. Rosa reached out both hands. Come here, child. Let me look at you. Emma took her hands. They were cold and thin and trembling slightly. Thank you for having me. Thank you for coming. Now, Marcus, go away. Emma and I have things to discuss. Girl things, you're not invited. Marcus kissed his mother's cheek. I'll be in my office if you need me. He disappeared into the house and suddenly Emma was alone with Rosa. The old woman studied her face with that same intense scrutiny from the restaurant. You didn't sleep, Rosa observed. No, ma'am. Rosa, please. Ma'am makes me feel like a stranger. She released Emma's hands and gestured toward the house. Come, I want to show you something. Emma pushed the wheelchair through halls lined with oil paintings and antique furniture and the kind of wealth Emma had only seen in museums. They ended up in a sunroom overlooking gardens that probably required a full-time staff. This was Sophia's favorite room, Rosa said quietly. She'd sit here for hours reading Plotting Dreaming. She was going to be a lawyer, fight for people who couldn't fight for themselves. Her voice caught. Then the cancer came and stole all those plans. Emma knelt beside the wheelchair. Tell me about her. And Rosa did. For the next hour, she talked about Sophia, fierce, brilliant Sophia, who'd graduated Harvard Law at 25, who'd worked at Legal Aid, defending immigrants and abuse victims, who'd been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer 6 months later. Rosa talked about the treatments that failed, the hope that died by inches, the final days when Sophia couldn't remember her own name. Emma listened and cried and held Rosa's hand. Because this grief, this loss, she understood. I'm dying too, Rosa said finally. Did Marcus tell you? Yes. Heart failure. The doctors say 6 months if I'm lucky, 4 if I'm not. They want me to spend it in hospitals, hooked up to machines fighting for every breath. She turned to Emma. I don't want that. I want to spend it living, feeling, connecting with people who understand what it means to lose everything. I understand, Emma whispered. I know you do. That's why. Rosa reached into her pocket and pulled out an envelope. I want you to have this. Emma opened it. Inside was a check for $50,000. Her vision tunneled. I can't accept this. Yes, you can. Rosa, no, it's too much. I didn't come here for money. I know you didn't. That's exactly why I'm giving it to you. Rosa's grip on her hand tightened. Marcus told me about your brother's debt. Don't be angry with him. He was trying to protect me, but I made him tell me the truth. $25,000 to Vincent Caruso's people. 2 weeks or they kill him. Emma's face burned with shame. He had no right. He had every right, and so do I. Rosa pushed the envelope into Emma's hands. Take it. Pay the debt. Give yourself room to breathe. I can't pay you back. Not in my lifetime. I don't want money. Rosa's voice was fierce now. I want time. I want you here with me for however long I have left. I want you to talk to me, eat with me. Let me pretend I have a daughter again. That's the payment. Can you do that? Emma stared at the check. $50,000. More money than she'd ever seen. Enough to save Ryan, enough to pay bills, enough to survive. There's a condition, Rosa continued. You move in here with me. Marcus has converted the East Wing into an apartment, kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, everything you need. You can come and go as you please, but this becomes your home, your sanctuary. Rosa, please. The word was barely a whisper. I'm dying alone in this enormous house with only my son and the staff for company. Let me spend my last months with someone who understands. Someone who makes me feel less, her voice broke, less afraid. Emma's resistance crumbled. Okay, yes, I'll move in. Rosa's face transformed. Truly. The old woman pulled Emma into a hug that smelled like roses and sadness. Thank you, child. They were still holding each other when the screaming started. Emma jerked back. What? Rosa's face had gone gray. That's Marcus. Something's wrong. Emma ran through the sunroom, through the halls, following the sound of her brother's voice. Didn't know where else to go. They came back early. They said if I didn't bring them something by tonight, She burst into Marcus's office to find Ryan backed against the wall. Marcus standing over him like an avenging angel. Ryan's face was worse than last night, fresh bruises blooming, one eye swollen completely shut. Ryan, Emma's voice came out high and thin. What are you doing here? Emma! He lunged toward her, but Marcus caught him by the collar. They came back. This morning they said 2 weeks was too long. They want half the money by tonight or he choked on a sob. They're gonna kill me, Emma. They showed me pictures of what they do to people who don't pay. Marcus's voice was ice. How did you find this house? I followed you this morning. I saw you pick up Emma and I. Ryan looked between them wild-eyed. Please, I know I messed up. I know I always mess up, but I'm your brother, Emma. You can't just let me die. Get out, Marcus said quietly. Marcus, Emma started. Get out. Marcus's hand moved to his waistband. Emma caught the flash of gunmetal. You followed me to my home, brought Caruso's attention to my doorstep, to my mother. You have exactly 10 seconds to leave before I put a bullet in your knee and drag you out myself. Ryan's face crumpled. Emma, please. Leave Ryan. Emma's voice was dead. Just leave. But now, Ryan ran. Emma heard his footsteps echoing through the mansion, heard the front door slam, then silence. Marcus turned to her. Did you know he followed us? No, I swear. Do you understand what he's done? Caruso will know you're here now, will know you're connected to my mother, to me. This house was supposed to be safe, private, and your brother just painted a target on it. Emma's legs gave out. She collapsed into a chair. I'm sorry, I didn't think. No, you didn't. Marcus pulled out his phone, fired off a series of texts. I'm doubling security. No one gets in or out without my approval. And your brother, I'll handle Ryan. You can't handle him. You've been trying for 3 years and he keeps getting worse. Marcus pocketed his phone. But I can handle him and I can handle Caruso. How? By reminding him that you're under my protection now. That touching you or your brother means war. His smile was cold. Caruso won't risk war over $25,000. But he'll risk it over the insult, over you interfering in his business. Let me worry about that. This is my problem. My brother. My debt. Not anymore. Marcus crossed to her, crouched so they were eye level. You accepted my help in the car. You took my mother's money. That means you're family now. And I protect family. Always. The word family hit Emma like a physical blow. She'd lost her family 3 years ago. The idea of having one again, even this strange, dangerous version. Emma, Rosa's voice came from the doorway. She'd wheeled herself into the office, her face tight with concern. What's happening? Who was that boy? No one, Mama. Marcus stood smoothly. Just someone looking for directions. Got lost. Don't lie to me, Marcus. I heard shouting. I heard. Her eyes found Emma's face. Oh, child, what's wrong? Emma couldn't speak, couldn't explain. The events of the last 24 hours crashed over her like a wave. The loan sharks, the promise, the money, Ryan's betrayal, Marcus's protection, Rosa's dying wish. It was too much. All of it was too much. I think Emma needs to rest, Marcus said gently. It's been an overwhelming morning. Why don't you show her to her new rooms? New rooms, Rosa's face brightened. You're staying? Emma nodded, not trusting her voice. Oh, wonderful. Come, let me show you everything. Marcus had them specially prepared, fresh linens, new furniture, everything you could need. Rosa wheeled toward the door, chattering about thread counts and window views. Emma stood to follow, but Marcus caught her arm. This isn't over, he said quietly. Caruso will make a move, soon. Be ready. Ready for what? For everything to change. He released her and Emma followed Rosa through the mansion to the east wing. The apartment was beautiful, hardwood floors, floor-to-ceiling windows, furniture that looked like it belonged in magazines. There was a bedroom with a bed big enough for 4 people, a bathroom with a tub. Emma could swim in a small kitchen, stocked with food she didn't buy. Do you like it? Rosa asked anxiously. It's perfect. Emma's voice cracked. Rosa, I don't deserve this. Any of this. Nonsense. You deserve good things, Emma Cole, and I'm going to make sure you get them. For however long I have left. Rosa left her to unpack, though Emma had nothing to unpack except the clothes on her back, and Emma stood in the middle of the bedroom trying to process everything. This morning she'd been sleeping on a slashed mattress in a destroyed apartment. Now she was in a mansion with money in her pocket, under the protection of a mafia boss caring for his dying mother. Her phone buzzed. A text from Ryan. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I'll fix this. I promise. Emma deleted it without responding. Another text, this one from a number she didn't recognize. We know where you are now. The Centauro boy can't protect you forever. 2 weeks. Tick-tock. Her hands shook. She forwarded the text to Marcus. His response came 30 seconds later. Let me handle it. Emma sank onto the bed and stared at the ceiling. She'd made a promise to Rosa. She'd accepted Marcus's protection. She'd tied herself to this family in ways she was only beginning to understand. And somewhere out there, Vincent Caruso was planning his next move. The game had changed. Emma just wasn't sure if she was a player or a pawn. Emma was still staring at her phone when someone knocked. She shoved the device under a pillow like a guilty teenager and called out, "Come in." Rosa wheeled herself through the door carrying a tray balanced on her lap. "I brought tea and cookies. The cook made them fresh this morning." "You didn't have to." "Hush, let an old woman spoil you." Rosa positioned herself by the window. "Now, tell me what's really going on." Emma's throat tightened. "I don't know what you mean." "That boy who came, the one Marcus said was lost. That was your brother, wasn't it?" There was no point lying. Rosa's eyes were too sharp, too knowing. "Yes, and he's in trouble." "Yes." Rosa was quiet for a moment, pouring tea with hands that trembled slightly. "Marcus thinks I'm fragile. That knowledge will break me. But I've buried a husband, a daughter, and half my friends. I'm not fragile, Emma. I'm just tired. He's trying to protect you. By keeping me in the dark, by treating me like blown glass." Rosa handed Emma a cup. "Tell me the truth, all of it. What's your brother done?" So Emma told her about Ryan's gambling, the debt, the loan sharks who worked for Vincent Caruso, about the threats, the destroyed apartment, the 2-week deadline that had somehow shortened to tonight, about Ryan following them this morning and exposing Emma's connection to the Santoro family. Rosa listened without interrupting. When Emma finished, the old woman nodded slowly. "Vincent Caruso, I should have known. That snake has been trying to undermine my family for 20 years. I didn't know. I swear, Ryan never told me who he owed." "Of course he didn't. Boys like your brother, they're good at hiding the important details until it's too late." Rosa sipped her tea. "But you're here now, under our protection. That changes the equation. Does it? Or does it just make me bait in whatever war you and Caruso are fighting?" The question hung between them. Rosa's expression that shifted, grief calculation, something Emma couldn't quite read. "You're smarter than you look." "I've had to be." "Yes, I imagine you have." Rosa set down her cup. "Can I tell you a story?" "Of course, 23 years ago, there was a car accident. A family, parents and 2 small children driving home from a christening. Drunk driver ran a red light, hit them head on. The mother died instantly. The father survived long enough to give a description of the other driver to the police." Emma's blood ran cold. "Rosa, the drunk driver worked for my husband, one of his enforcers. We paid off the police. The witnesses made the whole thing disappear. The father died before he could identify anyone else. The children went into foster care." Rosa's voice was steady, but her hand shook. 6 months later, my husband had a heart attack. Died in his sleep. I always wondered if it was guilt, if somewhere deep down even he had limits." Emma couldn't breathe. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because Marcus had you investigated. Because I know your last name used to be Corelli, not Cole. Your grandmother changed it after your parents adopted you out of foster care when you were 7. Rosa met her eyes. "Emma Corelli, daughter of Antonio and Maria Corelli, the family my husband destroyed." The room tilted. Emma gripped the edge of the bed. "You knew. This whole time you knew who I was." "Not at first. Not until Marcus showed me his investigation this morning. The moment I saw the name Corelli, I knew." Rosa's voice cracked. "And I knew I had to tell you before you heard it somewhere else. Before you thought I'd been lying to you." "You have been lying to me." Emma shot to her feet. "You let me make that promise. You let me sit there crying with you, sharing grief. And the whole time you knew your family killed my real parents. I didn't know they were your parents when I asked you to make obuco. I swear on Sophia's grave. When you said your parents died in a crash 3 years ago, I thought..." Rosa's eyes filled with tears. "I thought you meant your adoptive parents. I didn't know about the Corellis. Not then." Emma's mind reeled. Antonio and Maria Corelli. She had fragments of memory from before the adoption, a woman's voice singing in Italian, a man's rough hands lifting her up, a little boy crying in the dark. Ryan, her brother from before, her real brother. "Does Ryan know?" The question came out hoarse. "I don't think so. Your grandmother never told you, did she? Never explained why she changed your names, moved you to a different neighborhood, raised you as Coles instead of Corellis." She said our parents died in an accident, that it was better to start fresh. I was 7. I believed her. Emma's legs gave out. She sank back onto the bed. And 3 years ago, when the Coles died, different accident, different circumstances, not connected to my family. Rosa wheeled closer. Emma, I know this changes everything. I know you probably hate me right now, but please believe that I never meant to deceive you. When I asked you to treat me like your mother, I genuinely didn't know. But you know now, and you still gave me that check, still invited me to live here. Why? Emma's voice rose. Why would you want the daughter of people your family murdered living under your roof? Because I'm dying, and I want to do one good thing before I go, Rosa's composure shattered. Because I've spent 23 years knowing what my husband did and doing nothing about it. Because when I look at you, I see the little girl who lost everything because of my cowardice, and I want, she choked on a sob, I want to give you something back. Anything. Even if it's just a few months of safety. Emma wanted to scream, to throw the tea, smash the cookies, destroy this beautiful room that had been bought with blood money. But looking at Rosa Frail dying, genuinely destroyed, she couldn't summon the rage. I need time, Emma said finally. I need to think. Of course, take all the time you need. Rosa turned her wheelchair toward the door. But Emma, the check is still yours. Whether you stay or go, you've earned it just by surviving this long. She left and Emma was alone with the truth. Her parents, her real parents, had been killed by the Santoros. The family she'd just tied herself to. The family whose dying matriarch she'd promised to care for. The family whose protection she desperately needed. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't so devastating. Emma's phone buzzed again. Marcus, come to my office, now. She didn't want to face him, didn't want to look at the man whose father had orphaned her. But the text wasn't a request. Emma found him in his office, standing at the window with a glass of whiskey. He didn't turn when she entered. My mother told you. Not a question. Yes. And now you hate us. I don't know what I feel. Emma's voice was raw. Your father killed my parents, covered it up, destroyed my family. And somehow I ended up here anyway 23 years later, living under your roof. What are the odds? Higher than you'd think. Marcus turned to face her. Vincent Caruso knew who you were. That's why he targeted Ryan. The floor dropped out from under Emma. What? Caruso's been watching you for months, waiting for an opportunity. When Ryan started gambling at his establishments, Caruso saw his chance. He encouraged the addiction extended credit Ryan couldn't afford, created the debt specifically to use you as leverage. Leverage for what? Against my mother, against me. Marcus drained his whiskey. Caruso's been trying to take over our territory for years. He thought if he could get you into our house, into our family, he could use you to destroy us from the inside. Maybe blackmail us with the truth about your parents. Maybe use you to gather information. Maybe just hurt us by proxy. Emma's knees buckled. Marcus caught her, guided her to a chair. So I'm what? A pawn, a weapon. You were supposed to be, until my mother actually started caring about you. Until you turned out to be exactly who you said you were, a grieving woman trying to survive. His voice softened. Caruso didn't count on that. Didn't count on you being real. None of this is real, Emma's voice cracked. I thought I was helping a dying woman, making one decent choice in my garbage life, but it's all manipulation, all of it. Not all of it. Marcus crouched in front of her. My mother's feelings are real. Her grief over Sophia, her wish for connection, her affection for you, that's all real. So is her guilt over what my father did. She's been carrying that for 23 years. And your feelings, are those real? Or is protecting me just another strategic move? Marcus was silent for a long moment. Then both. I protect you because my mother cares about you, but also because... He stopped, started again. You remind me of Sophia, the way you refuse to break, the way you keep fighting even when the world's trying to bury you. Sophia was like that too. I'm not your dead sister. I know, but you make me remember what it was like when she was still here, when this house felt less like a mausoleum and more like a home. His eyes met hers. So yes, Emma, my feelings are real, complicated, probably messed up, but real. Emma didn't know what to do with that, didn't know what to do with any of this. What happens now? Now you decide, stay or go, Take the money, pay off Ryan's debt, disappear if you want. I won't stop you. And if I stay, then you're family, really family, which means I protect you against Caruso, against anyone who tries to hurt you. But it also means you're in this world, my world, with all the darkness that comes with it. Emma thought about her slashed mattress, her destroyed apartment, Ryan's swollen face. Thought about the loan shark's threats, the crushing debt, the grinding hopelessness of her life before yesterday. If I leave, what happens to Ryan? Marcus's expression hardened. Ryan made his own choices, got himself into debt with Caruso specifically to hurt my family. Whether you meant to or not, he used you as bait. He's still my brother. He's a liability, and liabilities get people killed. So you just let Caruso kill him. I'd let Ryan face the consequences of his actions, yes. Marcus stood. But if you stay, if you commit to this family, then Ryan becomes my responsibility too. I'll handle his debt, get him clean, make sure Caruso never touches him again. Why would you do that for someone who tried to use me against you? Because you care about him, and I care about you. The words landed like bullets. That's how family works, Emma. We protect each other's broken pieces, even the ones that hurt us. Emma's phone exploded with notifications, text after text flooding in. She pulled it out with shaking hands. Ryan, they're here at my apartment. They're going to kill me, Ryan. Emma, please, I'm so sorry, Ryan. They have guns. They're breaking down the door, Ryan. I love you. I'm sorry for everything. Then nothing. Emma looked up at Marcus, her face white. They're killing him right now. They're killing Ryan. Marcus was already moving phone to his ear, barking orders. Lock down the house. Full security. No one in or out. He grabbed car keys from his desk. Emma, stay here. Don't leave this room until I get back. I'm coming with you. No. He's my brother. Emma was on her feet running after Marcus as he headed for the garage. You're not keeping me here while Ryan dies. If I bring you, Caruso might be waiting for exactly that. Might use you to. I don't care. Emma grabbed his arm. Please, I can't lose him too. Not like this. Marcus's jaw worked. Then he nodded once sharp. Get into the car. Don't argue, don't question. Just do exactly what I say. Understood. Understood. They were in the car and tearing down the driveway before Emma could process what she was doing. Marcus drove like a demon, the sedan eating up miles at speeds that should have terrified her. He made a call, spoke in rapid Italian. Emma couldn't follow, then another call in English. Angelo, I need a team at Ryan Cole's apartment. Now, yes, I know Caruso's people are already there. That's why I need the team. A pause. Because the girl's with me, and if her brother dies, this whole arrangement falls apart. Just do it. He hung up. Emma gripped the door handle, her knuckles white. What if we're too late? We're not. How do you know? Because Caruso wants me to show up. This isn't about killing Ryan. It's about forcing my hand, making me choose between protecting you and maintaining the peace. Marcus took a corner at 70. He's gambling that I'll back down. Let him take Ryan, prove that my protection has limits. And will you back down? His answer was to drive faster. They reached Emma's neighborhood in 20 minutes that felt like 20 hours. The street was chaos, 3 black SUVs blocking both ends, men in leather jackets surrounding Emma's building, neighbors watching from windows like it was a show. Marcus parked half a block away. Stay in the car. Marcus, stay in the car. He pulled a gun from under his seat, checked the chamber. If shooting starts, you get down and you stay down. Don't try to help. Don't try to run. Just survive. Promise me. I promise. He was out of the car before Emma could say anything else. She watched him approach the building, watched Caruso's men turn to face him. One of them, the same shark smile man from last night, stepped forward. Emma couldn't hear what they were saying, but she saw Marcus's body language shift, saw him gesture toward the building, then back toward the car where she sat, saw Shark Smile shake his head. Then she saw movement in a third-floor window. Ryan, alive, being held by 2 men, his face a mask of blood. Emma was out of the car before she could stop herself. Ryan. Everything happened at once. Shark Smile spun toward her. Marcus lunged forward. Someone grabbed Emma from behind and she screamed. A gun fired once, twice, three times, and suddenly there was blood on the pavement and men shouting, and Marcus was there yanking her behind him, his own gun out and trained on Shark Smile. Let the boy go. Marcus's voice was death itself. Now. Or what, you'll start a war over some gambling junkie, Shark Smile laughed. Caruso said you'd gotten soft, said the girl made you weak. The girl makes me motivated. There's a difference. Marcus cocked his gun. Release Ryan Cole and walk away, or I put bullets in every single one of you and let Caruso collect the pieces. You're outnumbered 6-1. I'm counting 8 out of you. Try to keep up. Marcus's smile was terrifying. And I'm not alone. As if on cue, 4 more SUVs rolled up. Men in dark suits emerged, all armed, all moving with military precision. Angelo Emma recognized him from the office earlier, approached Marcus. Boss, we're ready. Shark Smile's confidence wavered. Caruso's not going to like this. Then tell Caruso to come talk to me himself, man to man, instead of hiding behind threats and kidnapping. Marcus's voice dropped. You have 10 seconds. Release Ryan Cole or I paint this street red. For a moment, Emma thought Shark Smile would refuse, thought bullets would start flying, and she'd watch everyone she cared about die. But then he nodded, jerked his head toward the building. The men holding Ryan threw him out the 3rd-floor window. Emma screamed. Marcus moved. Time became syrup, slow, thick, impossible. Ryan fell, arms flailing, and for one horrible second, Emma saw her mother's body lying in the hospital bed, saw the light leaving her eyes, saw death coming for everyone she loved. Then Angelo was there, moving faster than physics should allow, catching Ryan before he hit the pavement. They went down in a tangle of limbs, but when they stood, Ryan was alive. Beaten, bloody, probably concussed, but alive. Next time, Shark Smile Call had out, already retreating to his vehicle. She won't be so lucky. Neither will you. Caruso's patience has limits. So does mine, Marcus said quietly. Remember that. The SUVs pulled away, Caruso's men vanishing as quickly as they had appeared. Emma ran to Ryan, dropped to her knees beside him where Angelo had laid him on the ground. Ryan, can you hear me? Her brother's good eye cracked open. Emma, sorry, so sorry. Shut up. Just don't die. Okay, don't you dare die. Wasn't trying to. Turns out dying hurts. He coughed, winced. Who's the scary guy with the gun? Emma looked back at Marcus, who stood watching them with an expression she couldn't read. Someone who's going to help you, if you let him. Marcus holstered his weapon, approached slowly. Get him in the car. We're taking him to a private clinic. No hospitals, too many questions. Angelo lifted Ryan like he weighed nothing, carried him to Marcus's sedan. Emma followed, her whole body shaking with adrenaline crash. Marcus caught her elbow, steadied her. You promised to stay in the car. I know, I'm sorry, I just saved his life. If you hadn't screamed, they might have killed him before I could negotiate. Marcus's voice was soft. Good instincts. Terrible survival skills. We'll work on that. They drove to a clinic that looked like a mansion, where doctors in expensive suits treated Ryan without asking questions. Broken ribs, concussion, internal bleeding. They kept him overnight for observation. Emma sat in the waiting room with her head in her hands. Marcus brought her coffee she didn't drink. He's going to be okay, Marcus said finally. Physically, anyway. And mentally, emotionally, what happens when Caruso comes back? He won't. Not for Ryan, I'm making a deal. Emma looked up. What kind of deal? The kind where I buy out Ryan's debt at triple the amount, plus pay Caruso a consultation fee for his trouble. It'll cost me $200,000, but it ends this. I can't ask you to, I guess. You're not asking, I'm offering. Because you're family now, Emma. You, Ryan, even your broken down junkie brother who nearly got us all killed. Marcus's smile was tired. Welcome to the Santoro family. We collect strays. Emma wanted to laugh or cry or both. I don't know how to repay you. You already did. You kept your promise to my mother. That's worth more than money. He stood. Come on, let's get you home. Rosa's worried sick. Home. The word felt foreign, but when they pulled up to the mansion and Rosa was waiting at the door, her face tight with concern, something in Emma's chest loosened. Is he alive? Rosa asked immediately. He's alive, stable. He'll recover. Emma climbed out of the car on shaking legs. And are you hurt? No, Emma's voice broke. I'm okay. Rosa wheeled forward, grabbed Emma's hands. You're not okay, but you will be. Come, let's get you inside. As they entered the mansion, Emma looked back at Marcus. He stood by the car, phone to his ear, already dealing with the aftermath, already protecting them. And Emma realized with absolute certainty that she wasn't leaving. Couldn't leave. Whatever complicated, dangerous, morally ambiguous thing, it was hers now, these people, this family, this life. She'd promised Rosa she'd treat her like a mother. But somewhere between yesterday and today, it had stopped being just a promise. It had become the truth. Rosa wheeled herself into Emma's apartment and closed the door behind them with a soft click that sounded like a lock turning. Emma sank onto the couch, still trembling from the adrenaline from watching Ryan fall from the gunshots that had painted her street red. Tell me what happened, Rosa said. Not a question, a command wrapped in concern. So Emma told her everything. The confrontation, the fall, Angelo catching Ryan Marcus negotiating with Caruso's men while Emma broke her promise and got out of the car. Rosa listened with her hands folded in her lap, her face unreadable. You screamed, Rosa said when Emma finished, when they threw Ryan from the window. You screamed and drew their attention. I couldn't help it. You thought you were watching your brother die, just like you watched your mother die 3 years ago. Rosa's voice was gentle. Trauma has a way of making us relive our worst moments, over and over. Emma's eyes burned. I couldn't go through that again. I couldn't. I know, child, I know. Rosa reached for Emma's hand. But you need to understand something. The world Marcus lives in, the world you're in now, it doesn't allow for screaming, for breaking promises, for letting emotion override survival instinct. Are you saying I shouldn't have saved Ryan? I'm saying next time it might not end with everyone walking away. Rosa's grip tightened. Vincent Caruso doesn't play games, he makes statements. And today's statement was clear. He can reach you anywhere, anytime, even under Marcus's protection. A knock interrupted them. Marcus entered without waiting for permission, his face grim. We need to talk, all of us. He led them to his office where Ryan sat in a chair looking like death warmed over. His face was bandaged, one arm in a sling, but his eyes were clear, clearer than Emma had seen them in years. Tell them, Marcus said quietly, tell them the truth. Ryan wouldn't meet Emma's gaze. I didn't rack up $25,000 in debt by accident. Emma's stomach dropped. What? Caruso approached me 6 months ago, said he knew who we really were. The Corellis, said the Santoros owed us a blood debt for what they did to our parents. Ryan's voice was flat, defeated. He said if I helped him, he'd make sure we got justice and money, enough money to start over somewhere the Santoros couldn't touch us. Helped him how? Emma could barely force the words out. By getting you close to Rosa Santoro, by making you desperate enough to accept her help. Ryan finally looked up. The gambling wasn't real, Emma. I mean, I lost money, but Caruso was the one extending credit, creating the debt, making it look authentic so you'd have no choice but to turn to the Santoros when Rosa offered. The room spun. Emma gripped the edge of Marcus's desk. You set me up. You used me. I thought I was helping Caruso, so said the Santoros killed our real parents. Said they covered it up. Paid off cops made our family disappear. He showed me police reports, witness statements, everything. Ryan's voice cracked. I wanted revenge. For them. For us. And Caruso said the only way to get it was to put you inside their house. So you destroyed our apartment. Let them threaten to kill you. Made me think I had to save you. Emma's voice was ice. Made me accept Rosa's money, Marcus's protection. All of it was fake. Not all of it, Ryan looked at Marcus. Tell her what you told me at the clinic. Marcus's jaw worked. The drunk driver who killed Antonio and Maria Corelli 23 years ago did work for my father. That part's true, but he wasn't acting on orders. He was just drunk. My father paid off the cops and buried the investigation to protect his business, not because he ordered the hit. And you know this, how Emma's hands shook. Because Vincent Caruso was the one who ordered it. The words landed like a bomb. Emma couldn't breathe. What? Caruso wanted my father's territory, wanted to force him into a mistake. So he found one of our people, a driver with a drinking problem, got him drunk, pointed him at the Corelli family, and let nature take its course. Marcus's voice was steady, but his eyes were haunted. My father covered it up because admitting one of our people killed civilians would have started a war. But Caruso got what he wanted anyway. My father spent the rest of his life knowing he had helped hide a murder. It ate him alive. The heart attack that killed him 5 years later, I think it was guilt. Emma looked at Ryan. And you believed Caruso. You didn't think to question the man who was offering you money to betray your own sister. I wanted to believe him. I wanted someone to blame besides myself. Ryan's composure shattered. Do you know what it's like being your brother, Saint Emma, who sacrificed everything, who kept us alive, who never complained? I'm a screw-up, Emma. I've always been a screw-up. And Caruso offered me a chance to be the hero for once, to get justice, to matter. So you sold me out? I'm sorry. God, Emma, I'm so sorry. Emma turned to Marcus. How long have you known? Since this morning, when I had you investigated, the timing of Ryan's death was too convenient, too targeted. I put pressure on Caruso's people and they broke, told me everything. Marcus's expression was unreadable. But I didn't tell you because I needed to be sure, needed Ryan to confirm it himself. And now that you know I was bait, that everything Caruso did was to get me into this house. Emma's voice rose. What happens to me? That depends on you. Marcus crossed to his desk, pulled out a folder. These are the real police reports from your parents' accident, not the sanitized versions, the real ones my father buried, including witness statements that place Caruso's men at the scene, getting your father's driver drunk in a bar 2 hours before the crash. He handed her the folder. Emma's hands shook as she opened it. The first page showed a photograph of her father, Antonio Corelli, younger than she remembered him. Smiling, alive. Your parents weren't random civilians, Marcus continued. Your father was Caruso's accountant, handled his books, his money laundering. When your father discovered Caruso was skimming from his own organization, stealing from partners, betraying allies, he threatened to go to the authorities. Caruso couldn't allow that, so he orchestrated the accident. Emma's vision blurred. My father was a criminal. Your father was a man trying to do the right thing in a wrong world, and Caruso killed him for it. Killed your mother too, just for being in the car. Marcus's voice softened. Then he waited 23 years, watched you grow up, and when the time was right, he used you to hurt my family. Because that's what Vincent Caruso does. He destroys families. Ryan was crying now, ugly sobs that shook his whole body. I'm sorry, Emma. I'm so sorry. I thought I was helping. You thought wrong. Emma closed the folder, her decision made. Marcus, I need you to do something for me. Anything. I need you to let Ryan go. Ryan's head snapped up. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Go where? Anywhere but here. Away from New York, away from Caruso, away from me. Emma's voice was steady now. You said you'd handle his debt. Handle it by making him disappear. New identity, new city, enough money to start over. But he doesn't come back. Ever. Emma, no. Ryan started. You wanted to matter. You wanted to be the hero. Emma cut him off. Here's your chance. Take the gift Marcus is offering and build a life that doesn't destroy everyone around you. Prove you're better than the addict who sold out his sister. I don't want to leave you. You already did. The moment you made a deal with Caruso. Emma met his eyes. I love you, Ryan. I always will. But I can't save you anymore. And I can't trust you. So you leave, you get clean, you build something good. Or you stay and Caruso kills you anyway. Your choice. Marcus nodded slowly. I can make it happen. Witness protection style. New name, new background, set him up in Denver or Seattle or wherever he wants. But Emma's right, once he goes, he stays gone. Ryan looked between them, his face a mask of grief. What about you? What happens to you? I'm exactly where I need to be, Emma said, and meant it. Rosa, who'd been silent through all of this, wheeled forward. You're sure, child, once your brother leaves? I'm sure, Emma turned to Marcus. How soon can you make it happen? 48 hours. I'll need to call in Favor's grease wheels, but I can do it. Then do it. Emma looked at Ryan one last time. Goodbye, Ryan. I hope you find what you're looking for. She walked out before he could respond, made it all the way to her apartment before the tears came. She collapsed on the bed and let herself fall apart, grieving for the brother she'd lost, and the parents she'd never really known, and the innocence Caruso had stolen from her twice over. A soft knock came an hour later. Emma didn't bother wiping her face. "Come in." Marcus entered carrying a bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses. He poured without asking, handed her one. "To family, the ones we choose and the ones we survive." They drank. The whiskey burned, but Emma welcomed it. "Thank you for giving him a chance. I'm not doing it for him. I'm doing it for you." Marcus poured again. "You want to know the real reason I'm helping you, the truth. Always. Because when I look at you, I see someone who refuses to let this world break them. Someone who keeps their promises even when it costs them everything. Someone," he stopped, started again. "Someone I could fall in love with, if I let myself." The confession hung between them. Emma should have been shocked, should have pulled away. Instead, she heard herself say, "Then let yourself." Marcus's eyes went dark. "You don't know what you're asking." "I know exactly what I'm asking. I'm asking you to stop seeing me as your mother's project, or your sister's replacement, or a Caruso's weapon." Emma set down her glass. "I'm asking you to see me, Marcus. Just me. Emma, the girl who's tired of running and ready to fight. Fighting in my world gets people killed. I'm already dead. I died 3 years ago watching my mother slip away. I died this morning watching Ryan fall. I died every single day trying to survive in a world that wanted me gone." Emma stood cross to him. "But maybe I could come back to life, with you, with Rosa, with this strange, dangerous family. Maybe I could be Emma again. Really Emma." Marcus stared at her for a long moment. Then he reached up, cupped her face with hands that had held guns and made threats and killed people. "If we do this, if we start this, there's no going back. You understand that?" "I understand. Caruso will use it against us. Against you. Let him try." Marcus's smile was slow, dangerous, real. "You're going to get me killed, Emma Cole. Probably, but you'll die happy." He kissed her then, and it tasted like whiskey and promises and the kind of future Emma had stopped believing in. When they broke apart, Marcus rested his forehead against hers. "My mother's going to love this," he murmured. "Your mother's dying. Let her have something to be happy about." Marcus pulled back. "About that, there's something you need to know." Emma's stomach clenched. "What?" "The heart failure, the 6 months the doctors gave her." He paused. "It's not entirely accurate." "What does that mean?" "It means my mother's been lying, to me, to the doctors, to everyone." Marcus's voice was tight. "She's not dying of heart failure. She's dying of poison. Someone's been slowly killing her for the last 6 months." The world stopped. "Who?" "I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out." His eyes were cold. "And when I do, I'm going to make them beg for death before I grant it." Emma's mind raced. Poison, 6 months, someone in the house, someone close enough to Rosa to slip something into her food, her medicine, her tea. Does she know? Not yet. I only found out this morning when the private investigator I hired sent over the toxicology reports. I had her blood tested without telling her because something felt wrong. The symptoms didn't match, and I was right. We need to tell her. Not yet. If we tell her now, she'll panic. Or worse, she'll confront whoever's doing this and get herself killed faster. Marcus pulled out his phone, showed Emma a list of names. These are everyone who's had access to her in the last 6 months. Staff doctors, visitors. One of them is poisoning her. Emma scanned the list. Cook, housekeeper, nurse, physical therapist, 3 different doctors. How do we narrow it down? We watch. We wait. We catch them in the act. Marcus pocketed his phone. And we don't tell anyone. Not Rosa, not Angelo, not your brother. No one. The moment the poisoner knows we're onto them, they'll either run or accelerate. We can't risk either. So we just let her keep getting poisoned. We switch out her medications, replace anything that could be tampered with. I've already started, but we can't let her know because she's a terrible liar, and whoever's doing this will see it in her face. Marcus's jaw tightened. We protect her by keeping her in the dark. Emma hated it, hated lying to Rosa. But Marcus was right. How long do we have? The poison is cumulative, builds up in the system over time. Based on the blood work she's got, maybe 3 weeks before organ failure becomes irreversible. After that, he didn't finish. 3 weeks. Emma's hands clenched. Then we find them in 3 weeks. We find them sooner because I'm not losing my mother to some coward with poison. Marcus stood. Come on. She'll be expecting us for dinner. We need to act normal. Normal, Emma almost laughed. Nothing about this was normal. They found Rosa in the dining room, already seated at the table, her face bright with anticipation. There you are. I was beginning to think you'd forgotten about me. Never, Mama. Marcus kissed her cheek. Emma saw him surreptitiously check her water glass, her wine, looking for signs of tampering. Emma, sit next to me. I want to hear everything about today. Ryan's recovery, how you're settling in all of it. Rosa reached for Emma's hand. I want this to be a real family dinner, like the ones we used to have when Sophia was alive. The cook brought out the first course pasta in cream sauce. Emma watched Marcus watch the cook, saw the flash of suspicion in his eyes. The cook was on the list. This looks wonderful, Marie, Rosa said warmly. Thank you. Marie smiled, sat down. The dishes disappeared back to the kitchen. Marcus waited until she was gone, then smoothly switched his mother's plate with his own. Marcus, what are you doing? Rosa frowned. Your plate had a hair on it. Here, take mine. He said it easily, naturally. Emma's heart clenched. They ate, they talked. Rosa told stories about Sophia's childhood, about Marcus's father, about the early days when the family was still building its empire. Emma laughed in the right places, asked questions, played the part of the devoted surrogate daughter. And all the while she watched the staff come and go, wondering which one was slowly murdering the woman she'd come to care for. Halfway through the meal, Rosa's phone rang. Rang. She glanced at it, frowned. I'm sorry, I need to take this. It's Dr. Brennan. She wheeled herself to the corner for privacy. Marcus leaned close to Emma. Brennan's on the list, her primary physician, access to all her medications. Would a doctor risk it? For the right price, absolutely. Marcus's eyes tracked his mother across the room. Money makes people do terrible things. Rosa returned, looking pale. Dr. Brennan wants to see me tomorrow. Says there's been some irregularities in my latest blood work. Marcus's face didn't change. What kind of irregularities? He wouldn't say over the phone, but he sounded concerned. Rosa's hands trembled as she picked up her fork. I'm sure it's nothing. Probably just needs to adjust my medications. Emma caught Marcus's eye. Medications. That's how the poison was being delivered. Through the pills Rosa took every day. Pills prescribed by Dr. Brennan. I'll go with you, Marcus said, to the appointment. That's not necessary. I'm going. His tone left no room for argument. Rosa smiled. You're a good son, Marcus, even when you're being overbearing. They finished dinner making small talk that felt like walking through a minefield. Every sip of water, every bite of food could be the one that tipped Rosa over the edge. Emma wanted to scream, to flip the table, to grab Rosa and run. But she smiled and nodded and pretended everything was fine. After dinner, Rosa retired early, claiming exhaustion. The moment she was gone, Marcus made a call. Angelo, I need you to do a background check on Dr. Brennan. Deep dive. Financials, associates, everything. And I need it by morning. He listened. I don't care what it costs. Just get it done. He hung up, poured himself a whiskey. This ends tomorrow, one way or another. What if it's not the doctor? What if we're wrong? Then we keep looking. But my gut says it's him. The timing's too perfect. He calls right after I switch out her medications, says there's irregularities in her blood work. He wants to discuss in person. Marcus drained his glass. He knows we're on to him. He's making a move. Emma's pulse raced. So what do? We spring the trap, let him think he's got us cornered. And then, Marcus's smile was cold, then we show him what happens to people who hurt my family. They stayed up late, planning, plotting, preparing for tomorrow's confrontation. By the time Emma finally collapsed into bed, the sky was starting to lighten. She'd been in this house for less than 48 hours, and already her life had been rearranged beyond recognition. Her brother was leaving forever. The man she was falling for was a mafia boss. The woman she'd promised to care for was being poisoned. And somewhere out there, Vincent Caruso was planning his next move. Emma closed her eyes and tried to sleep. But all she could see was Rosa's face when she'd asked Emma to treat her like a mother. The trust in her eyes, the hope. Emma had made a promise, and she was going to keep it, no matter what it cost. Emma woke to Marcus shaking her shoulder, his face grim in the pre-dawn darkness. Angelo just called. Dr. Brennan's dead. She bolted upright. What? Car accident, single vehicle, drove off a bridge 2 hours ago. Marcus's voice was flat. Cops are calling it suicide, but Angelo says the brake lines were cut. Emma's blood ran cold. Someone killed him before we could question him, which means either he was the poisoner and his accomplice cleaned up loose ends, or he knew who was and they silenced him. Marcus was already dressed, gun visible at his hip. Either way, we're out of time. Whoever's doing this knows we're close. Does Rosa know? Not yet. She's still sleeping, but we need to move her now out of this house until we figure out who. A scream tore through the mansion. Female, terrified, coming from Rosa's wing. Marcus ran. Emma followed, her heart in her throat. They burst into Rosa's bedroom to find the nurse Margaret, a woman in her 50s, who'd worked for the family for years, backing away from the bed, her hands covered in blood. Rosa lay unconscious, blood pooling beneath her from a wound Emma couldn't see. What happened? Marcus grabbed Margaret by the shoulders. What did you do? Nothing. I came to give her morning medications, and she was like this, bleeding. I tried to stop it, but... Margaret's voice was hysteria. I didn't do anything. Marcus shoved past her, pressed his hands to his mother's side where blood pulsed from a deep laceration. Emma, call 911 now. Emma's hands shook as she dialed. The operator's voice was calm, professional, asking questions Emma could barely process. Yes, she's breathing. Yes, there's a lot of blood. Yes, send an ambulance now, please God, now. Marcus applied pressure to the wound, his face a mask of controlled terror. Mama, stay with me. You hear me? Stay with me. Rosa's eyes fluttered open. Marcus. What? She saw the blood and panic flooded her face. What's happening? You're okay. You're going to be okay. Just breathe. Marcus's voice cracked. Just keep breathing. Emma knelt beside them, gripped Rosa's hand. The old woman's skin was ice cold, her pulse thready and weak. Too weak. Emma. Rosa's voice was barely a whisper. I need to tell you. Save your strength. The ambulance is coming. No, listen. Rosa's grip tightened with surprising force. The poison. I know about the poison. Marcus froze. Mama, I've known for weeks, since before Emma came. Rosa coughed and blood flecked her lips. I hired my own investigator. Found out someone was trying to kill me. I just didn't know who. Why didn't you tell me? Marcus's voice broke. Because I needed to know who I could trust, even you. Rosa's eyes found Emma's. But then you came, and you were real. You weren't part of it. I could feel it. Part of what? Emma's vision blurred with tears. The plan. Caruso's plan. He wanted someone inside this house. Someone close to me. Someone who could... She broke off, coughing again. More blood. He wanted you to kill me, Emma. That was always the end game. The room spun. No, I would never. I know, child, I know. That's why I trust you. Rosa turned her head toward Margaret, who stood frozen by the door. But I don't trust her. Margaret's face went white. Mrs. Santoro, I would never. Save it. Marcus was on his feet, gun drawn, trained on Margaret. How much did Caruso pay you? I don't know what you're talking about. The wound on my mother's cheek, that's not from poison. That's a knife wound. Fresh. Made in the last hour. Marcus's voice was ice. You were alone with her. You did this. No, I found her like this, I swear. Then explain the blood on your hands, on your sleeves, on the knife in your pocket. Margaret's hand flew to her pocket. Emma saw the flash of metal, saw Marcus's finger tighten on the trigger. Then Angela was there, appearing from nowhere, grabbing Margaret's arm and twisting it behind her back. Got her, boss. The knife clattered to the floor. Small surgical, still wet with Rosa's blood. Margaret sagged in Angelo's grip. It was supposed to be peaceful, she whispered. The poison, slow, painless. But you switched her medications. You ruined everything. So Caruso said to finish it, make it look like a break-in, a robbery gone wrong. How long? Marcus's voice was deadly quiet. How long have you been poisoning her? 6 months. Since Dr. Brennan recruited me. He was drowning in gambling debt. Caruso owned him. Said if we could take out Rosa Santoro, he'd forgive everything. Give us new lives. Margaret laughed, a sound like breaking glass. But you killed him. Before he could run. Before he could save me. We didn't kill him. Caruso did. To tie up loose ends. You were next. Marcus lowered his gun. Angelo, take her to the basement. I'll deal with her after. The ambulance sirens cut him off. Paramedics flooded the room, pushing everyone back, working on Rosa with practiced efficiency. Emma watched them load her onto a stretcher, watched Marcus climb into the ambulance beside his mother, watched it all happen like she was underwater. Angelo's hand on her shoulder brought her back. Come on, I'll drive you to the hospital. What about her? Emma gestured to Margaret, who Angelo had zip-tied to a chair. She'll keep. Right now, Mrs. Santoro needs you more. The hospital was chaos. Doctors, nurses, machines that beeped and hummed and monitored every breath Rosa took. They'd rushed her into surgery. The knife had nicked her liver, caused internal bleeding. Touch and go, the surgeon said. Could go either way. Marcus sat in the waiting room with his head in his hands. Emma sat beside him, not touching, just present. I should have known, Marcus said finally. Should have seen it. Margaret's been with us for 5 years. 5 years, and I never suspected. She was good at hiding. They both were. Not good enough. If I'd caught it sooner, then Caruso would have just found someone else. This isn't on you, Marcus. It's on him. Marcus looked at her, his eyes red-rimmed. She said Caruso wanted you to kill my mother. Did you know that? Was that ever part of your plan? No, God, no. I didn't even know who Caruso was until 2 days ago. But Ryan did. Ryan knew exactly what he was setting you up for. Marcus's hands clenched. He was supposed to leave tomorrow. Start his new life. But now what? Now I'm going to kill him. Emma's breath caught. Marcus, he put you in this position, put my mother in that operating room, used you as a weapon and didn't care what it cost. Marcus stood. That's not something I can forgive. He's my brother. He's a traitor, and traitors die. Then I guess you'll have to kill me too. Emma stood to face him. Because I'm not letting you hurt Ryan. Not for this, not for anything. They stared at each other, the tension crackling like lightning. Then Marcus's phone rang. He answered without breaking eye contact. When are you sure? His face went pale. Don't let anyone in or out. I'm on my way. He hung up. That was security. There's been a breach at the house. Someone got past the gates into the main building. Caruso? Has to be. He knows we've got Margaret, knows his plan failed. So now he's making a statement. Marcus was already moving toward the exit. Stay here. Stay with my mother. Don't leave this hospital for any reason. Marcus, wait. But he was gone, Angelo at his heels. Emma stood in the empty waiting room, her mind racing. Caruso at the house. Rosa in surgery. Ryan somewhere in the city waiting for his new identity. Margaret in the basement. Dr. Brennan dead on a bridge. The pieces were all there. She just needed to put them together. Emma pulled out her phone, called the one person who might have answers. Hello. Ryan's voice was rough, like he'd been crying. Where are you? Emma, I thought you weren't talking to me. Where are you, Ryan? Motel near the airport. Marcus's people put me here until the new wide comes through tomorrow. A pause. Why, what's wrong? Everything's wrong. Rosa's in surgery. Someone stabbed her. The nurse was working for Caruso, poisoning her for months. Oh, God. Emma, I'm so sorry. If I'd known. When Caruso recruited you, what exactly did he tell you to do specifically? I told you, get you close to Rosa, make you desperate enough to accept help. And then what? After I was in the house, silence. Then he said you'd know what to do when the time came, that your instincts would take over, that revenge was in your blood. Revenge for what? For our parents, for what the Santoros did to the Corellis. Ryan's voice dropped. He said you'd understand once you were inside, once you saw how they lived while we struggled, that you'd want justice. He wanted me to kill Rosa. Emma said it flatly. That was always the plan. Get me inside, let me bond with her, then trigger me somehow to finish the job. No. He said it was just about getting information, about finding evidence to take down Marcus. He never said anything about killing. He lied, Ryan, just like he lied about everything else. Emma's hands shook. He killed our real parents. Did you know that? Not the Santoros, Caruso. He set up the drunk driving accident 23 years ago to take out his own accountant when our father threatened to expose him. The sound Ryan made was inhuman. No, that can't be. It's true. Marcus has the police reports, witness statements, everything. Emma's voice hardened. Caruso killed our parents, then waited 23 years to use us against the Santoros. We've been his weapons our entire lives, and we didn't even know it. Emma, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I believe you, but Marcus doesn't. And when he finds out you're still alive, he's going to finish what Caruso started. Emma made a decision. So you need to run, right now. Don't wait for the new identity. Just go, disappear, and don't ever contact me again. But do it, Ryan, run, because I can't save you this time. She hung up before he could argue, sat down heavily in a plastic chair that smelled like disinfectant in despair. A surgeon emerged an hour later, still in scrubs, her face carefully neutral. Mrs. Santoro made it through surgery. She's stable but critical. The next 48 hours will tell us if... The surgeon caught sight of Emma's expression. She's a fighter. She's got a good chance. Can I see her? Not yet. She's in recovery. Maybe in a few hours. The surgeon softened. Are you family? Emma thought about Rosa's hand in hers, about the promise she'd made, about everything that had happened since. Yes, I'm her daughter. The surgeon nodded. Then I'll make sure you're the first one in. She'll want to see you when she wakes up. Emma waited. Nurses came and went. The sun rose and set. Marcus called twice. Caruso had gotten away, destroyed half the house in the process, left a message written in gasoline on the lawn. The girl dies next. Let him try, Emma said when Marcus told her. Emma, you need protection. I need to be here when your mother wakes up. That's what I need. Emma's voice was steel. Everything else can wait. Rosa woke up at midnight. Emma was dozing in the chair beside her bed when she heard the whisper. Emma. She jerked awake. I'm here. I'm right here. Rosa's hand found hers squeezed weakly. You stayed. I promised. Remember, I'd treat you like my mother. Emma's vision blurred. Mothers don't abandon their daughters, even when those daughters are connected to the men who killed their real parents. Rosa's eyes were lucid now, knowing. I heard what you told your brother. On the phone. The walls in hospitals are thin. Emma's throat closed. I didn't mean for you to. I'm glad I did, because now I can say what I should have said from the beginning. Rosa's grip tightened. I'm sorry for what my husband did, for covering up your father's murder, for letting Caruso destroy your family and then mine. I'm sorry for all of it. It wasn't your fault. Wasn't it? I knew my husband was dirty, knew he made deals with devils, but I looked away because it was easier than fighting. And your family paid the price. Rosa coughed, winced. But you walked into my life and gave me something I thought I'd lost forever. Hope, connection, a reason to fight. I'm not your daughter, Rosa. I'm not Sophia. No, you're Emma, and Emma is exactly who I need you to be. Rosa pulled her closer. Promise me something. Anything. Promise me you'll stop Caruso, whatever it takes. However you have to do it. Stop him from hurting anyone else the way he hurt us. Emma saw it then, the full picture. Why Caruso wanted her in this house. Why he'd orchestrated everything. He wasn't trying to kill Rosa through Emma. He was trying to break Marcus by making Emma the weapon. By forcing Marcus to choose between protecting his mother and killing the woman he was falling for. But Caruso had made one mistake. He'd underestimated Emma's capacity for love, for loyalty, for keeping promises even when the world burned around her. I promise, Emma said. I'll stop him. Rosa smiled. Good. Now help me sit up. I need to call my son and tell him to stop being an idiot and marry you already. Emma laughed through her tears. Rosa. Don't Rosa me. I'm dying. I get to say what I want. And I want Marcus to be happy, and you make him happy. So you're going to marry him and give me grandbabies before I die, and that's final. You're not dying, not for a long time. We're all dying, child. Some of us just do it faster than others. Rosa's expression sobered. But I'll tell you a secret. Knowing you've been here, knowing you kept your promise, it's given me a reason to fight. So maybe I'll stick around a while longer, just to see how this story ends. Marcus arrived an hour later. He looked like he hadn't slept. His clothes rumpled a cut above his eye that hadn't been there before. But when he saw his mother awake, alert, smiling, something in him eased. Mama, come here, you big idiot. Let me look at you. He sat on the edge of her bed, took her hand. I thought I'd lost you. You can't get rid of me that easily. I have a wedding to plan. Rosa glanced meaningfully at Emma. Marcus's ears went red. Mama. Don't mama me. You love her. She loves you. I'm not blind. So stop dancing around it and make it official before I die of suspense instead of poison. Emma wanted the floor to swallow her. Rosa, it's only been 2 days. I fell in love with my husband in 2 hours. Married him 2 weeks later. We had 43 years together before his heart gave out. Rosa squeezed Marcus's hand. When you know, you know. And I know you two are meant for each other. So stop wasting time. Marcus looked at Emma. Emma looked back. The moment stretched fragile and impossible and real. We need to deal with Caruso first, Marcus said finally. Finish this, then, he paused. Then we'll talk about the future. Good, because the future's the only thing worth fighting for. Rosa leaned back against her pillow, suddenly exhausted. Now both of you go home. Get some rest. I'll still be here in the morning. Emma kissed her forehead. I'll be back first thing. I know you will, daughter. I know you will. The word daughter hung in the air as they left. Marcus and Emma walked to the car in silence, both processing everything. When they reached the parking garage, Marcus finally spoke. Ryan's gone, left the motel 2 hours ago. Didn't wait for the new identity, just disappeared. I know. I told him to run. Marcus stopped walking. You what? I told him to run because you were going to kill him and I couldn't let that happen. Emma met his eyes. He's still my brother Marcus. He made terrible choices, but he's the only family I have left from before. I can't just... He's not your only family. Marcus stepped closer. You have my mother. You have me. You have Angelo and the staff and everyone who's come to care about you in the last 2 days. Ryan stopped being your family the moment he sold you to Caruso. That's not how family works. You don't just stop loving people because they hurt you. No, you don't. Marcus cupped her face. Which is why I'm not going to chase him. Why I'm going to let him go. Because you asked me to. Because... He stopped searching for words. Because my mother's right. I love you, Emma Cole. I don't know how or why or if it even makes sense. But I love you, and that means respecting your choices, even the ones I don't agree with. Emma's breath caught. Marcus, you don't have to say it back. I'm not asking you to. I just needed you to know before... He paused. Before we go to war with Caruso, before everything gets worse, I needed you to know. Emma kissed him, poured everything she couldn't say into that kiss, grief and hope and fear and love, all tangled together. When they broke apart, Marcus was smiling. I'll take that as a maybe. Take it as a yes, you idiot. Emma laughed shakily. I love you too. Even though you're a mafia boss and you've known me for 48 hours, and this is completely insane. Insane's good. Insane means we're alive. Marcus pulled her close. Now let's go home and figure out how to kill Vincent Caruso. They drove back to the mansion as dawn broke over the city. The lawn was scorched where Caruso's message had been, but the house stood strong. Emma looked at it and felt something she hadn't felt in 3 years. She felt like she was home. The final confrontation came 3 days later. Caruso sent word he wanted to meet neutral ground, no weapons, just talk. Marcus knew it was a trap. They went anyway. The meeting place was an abandoned warehouse by the docks, classic mob movie territory. Emma insisted on coming despite Marcus's protests. This was her fight too. Caruso was waiting inside surrounded by his men. He smiled when he saw Emma. There she is, the girl who was supposed to destroy the Santoros from the inside. How's that working out for you? Better than your plan to poison Rosa, Emma said calmly. How's Margaret doing? Still tied up in Marcus's basement. Caruso's smile faded. You've got spirit, I'll give you that. Your father had spirit too, right up until the moment his car hit that barrier. Emma's hands clenched. You killed him, your own accountant, because he wouldn't lie for you. I killed him because he was weak. Just like you're weak, falling for the son of the man who covered up his murder. That's poetic. Caruso stepped closer. But it ends today. You, Marcus Rosa, all of it ends. I've waited 23 years for this revenge. I'm not waiting any longer. Then you should have made sure your nurse finished the job. Marcus's voice was ice. Because my mother's alive. Your doctor's dead. Your plan's over. My plan's just beginning. Caruso snapped his fingers. The doors burst open. Armed men flooded in from all sides. Caruso's men, dozens of them, all pointing guns at Marcus and Emma. Emma's heart stopped. They were outnumbered 10-1. This was suicide. Then she heard it, the sound of engines. Multiple engines, and suddenly the windows were exploding inward, and Marcus's people were everywhere, Angelo leading the charge, moving with military precision, overwhelming Caruso's men in seconds. It was over before it had started. Caruso found himself on his knees, Angelo's gun pressed to his head, his empire crumbling around him. Marcus crouched in front of him. "You made a mistake, Vincent. You thought taking my mother would break me, but you gave me Emma instead. And Emma's the strongest person I've ever met. So thank you for bringing her into my life. I'll think of you fondly while you rot in prison." "Prison?" Caruso laughed. "You think you can—" "I think I can do whatever I want, including turning over evidence of every crime you've committed in the last 30 years to the FBI, including the murder of Antonio and Maria Corelli, including attempted murder of Rosa Santoro, including conspiracy racketeering and about 50 other charges." Marcus smiled. "My mother kept records. Everything my father knew about you, she documented, just in case. And now the feds have it all." Caruso's face went white. "You're lying. Am I check your accounts, your warehouses, your operations? Everything's frozen. Everything's gone. You're done, Vincent." And he was. The FBI arrived 20 minutes later, led by an agent who clearly had history with Marcus. They took Caruso away in handcuffs, his empire dismantled, his power shattered. Emma watched it all happen in a daze. It was over, really over. Caruso was finished. Rosa was safe. She was safe. Marcus found her standing by the water after it was done. "You okay?" "I don't know. I thought I'd feel different. Lighter, maybe. But I just feel—" She stopped. "Empty." "Revenge doesn't fill the holes, Emma. It just stops them from getting deeper." Marcus wrapped his arms around her. "But family does. Love does. Building something good from all this darkness that fills the holes." Emma leaned in, into him. "Your mother's going to want that wedding soon. Probably tomorrow, knowing her." "Marcus Santoro, are you proposing?" "I'm saying if I don't propose, my dying mother will do it for me, and that seems like it should be my job." He turned her to face him. "Emma Cole, will you marry me? Build a life with me. Help me turn this family into something good." Emma thought about the promise she'd made to Rosa, about treating her like a mother, about family and love and second chances, about the girl she'd been 3 years ago and the woman she was becoming. "Yes," she said. "Yes to all of it." They married 3 weeks later in Rosa's hospital room. She was strong enough to sit up by then, to cry happy tears to give them her blessing. Ryan sent a card from somewhere in Montana, no return address, just 2 words, "Be happy." Rosa lived another 8 months, long enough to see Emma settle into the family, long enough to teach her the recipes that mattered, long enough to hold Emma's hand and tell her she was proud, long enough to die peacefully surrounded by people who loved her. At the funeral, Emma stood between Marcus and the empty space where Ryan should have been, and realized she'd found what she'd been looking for all along. Not revenge, not justice, not even closure. She'd found family, the kind you choose, the kind that chooses you back, and that was worth everything.